the future of the music industry and musicians. What does the future hold for musicians? The music industry, well, you know, at the end of the day, it's been finished for a while, hasn't it? If you're a musician. And was it ever that good anyway in the first place? Back in the day, let's face it, with all the record deals, it was just about who you knew. Even getting onto a small record label, it was still about who you knew. You know, you had to be to a standard. Bands, musicians, everybody had to be to a standard. There was that much going on. There was that many musicians, that many bands. That you know, it was in the culture, the music, TV, radio, everything. So, you know, but still, at the end of the day, you know, you needed the look. Now, when the internet came along, you know, that was really the last nail in the coffin. But I'm of the opinion, like, I think it happened before then. Like, I think the music industry was over. The beginning of the end was all the way as far back as 1989, maybe even 88. And what happened in that time, the late 80s, was the CD came out. Now all the small record labels, which were the lifeblood of the music industry, because you would get onto a small record label and then you would get, you know, hopefully get onto a bigger label. And all the small record labels were operating on vinyl pressing. It was all vinyl records. And then the CD came along, and it was, you know, every sort of market, you know, every dodgy market, or any normal market really. I mean, it was just, you know, CDs were being copied of bands' music and all that, and just being sold out in the open. And, you know, you could buy blank CDs, people were doing that and just making up their own collections. But, you know, that had such a major impact immediately, because obviously if you've got a small record label, you can see the writings on the wall straight away. How are you going to make money when it's such an efficient way of pirating? The CD was such a cheap, easy way to pirate music. Plus all the thing that it was all being pushed as the great new thing, the CD, new technology. The big music industry were okay with that, you know, the big labels, because they could recreate all them albums all over again, because they knew people were going to go out and buy the latest thing, the CDs, to build up the record collections. So the big guys were winning again, but all the little labels were over. And by the end of the 1980s, writing was on the wall. Now, what came along then was grunge. And later, 5 years later, mid-90s, Britpop. So you had the Americans doing the grunge, and then, you know, it was always that ping pong backwards and forwards between America and the UK, with bands and fashions and culture. But what both of them final things had in common was that even though it seemed like there was a lot of grunge bands and a lot of Britpop bands, well, there was, but they weren't getting signed. So all the grunge bands, there'd probably be about, you know, if you think about, if you try and, you could probably think of about 20 bands, maybe 30, and it's exactly the same with Britpop. And, you know, even less probably with Britpop, about 20 bands. And that's the only bands that were sort of allowed, in a way, to become big. And everybody else was ignored. All the other bands were ignored. There wasn't enough space on these major labels for everybody, because all of those other bands would have been on smaller labels that were falling off the face of the earth. So it was such a dire situation by the mid-90s. And of course, after Britpop, that was it. You know, you were into, your Simon Cowells and your Spice Girls and just all this X Factor rubbish. And it never recovered from, like, after around 2000. Except there was one other thing that came along just to stick the boot in right at the end, and that was the internet going mainstream.